Today I'm just going to have a very quick look at an amazing passage, and this gives a little insight into the incredible life and work of one man, and yet way beyond the aspect of his humanity. We see the reality of this passage in the Bible about Jesus, and as a man he suffered, and as God he came to earth and transformed the whole world history by being here on earth, being himself and being fully man, fully God. And so I'm just going to read quickly something from Isaiah in the Old Testament, Isaiah 53. And it says in verse 3, "He is despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we did not esteem him. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. We all like sheep have gone astray. We have turned away every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He was led like as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who will declare his generation? For he was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people he was stricken." There's an amazing picture here of someone who's suffering, someone who's been despised and rejected, but who's been wounded for our punishment, the punishment that we deserved, and bruised for our wrongdoings, and taking on board all that suffering for us in our place when we deserved it. And there's a lovely little story of somebody that I know tells of how they went to Greece and around about Easter time, and in that culture Easter is celebrated quite strongly, and I remember the collecting of the lamb. It was wheeled down in a little wheelbarrow, and it was difficult. The lamb didn't understand where it was going, what was about to happen, that it was going to be the barbecue, and innocent, unaware. Jesus was aware of what was happening though, and that's a key difference. But led like a lamb to the slaughter, there was a willingness, and he went all the way to the cross. He went to stand in our place for our forgiveness. As we trust in him, as we take that opportunity and say, I want to trust in you, I want that offer of forgiveness, that offer of new life, then if we receive that from him and confess our sins and say, okay, I recognize I've done bad stuff, I need that transformation, I need that change. I know that you've taken that for me, and I want a new life in you. That's the offer, that's the reality of this chapter of Isaiah 53. The one who's in Israel's understanding, the suffering servant, the one who stood in our place, the one who has come and been there, stood on our behalf, and yet we go free, we get set free, we get released from judgment, we get released from the prison of our darkness and sin and wrongdoing. We get restored. In him is the healing, in him is all the resources of God's restoration project, God's redemptive project, God's restoration of humanity, God's great plan to get humanity back on track and restored and back in relationship to God. And so that's your for today. I pray that if you don't know that yourself, that today might be the opportunity, that open door for you. I pray that you have the reality of that moment. Just come now, take that opportunity and say, Jesus, I know that I need you to transform my life. I recognize the things that I've done wrong. I recognize I need to allow you to be the one who's taken that for me and to come into relationship, reconciliation with God. Allow you to be in charge of my life and allow you to transform me and make me a new person. If that's you, just pray that prayer with me and allow God to come in and change you. Make that a new beginning. Let me know if that's been a prayer that you've prayed. Anyway, bless you. Thanks for listening. All right, God bless.